Bethlehem Steel was one of the worst places that you could work. And nobody ever said anything about it. Supposed to be one of the best places for mostly black men and their families. But when you looked at it and you actually found out what they were doing, they were using the black people. They were actually giving them more money than the other people. They were not doing that. And you had to live where they wanted you to live, on their grounds and all. And that's where we lived. You had people of all ages and all families that lived on Sparrows Point through Bethlehem Steel. And that's what it was, Bethlehem Steel. But you see, they couldn't do anything because that was their only jobs. This is the only jobs that they had. And they wasn't trying to help us. No, they weren't. They were trying to make the money and keep the money. And then as we got older and started to realize some of this, that's when things started to change. And it started to change a little bit at a time. Because you didn't want your family to get thrown off of Sparrows Point. You didn't want your family to get put off. And so we could only say certain things and do certain things. And just like it was, Bethlehem Steel was one of the worst places that you could work. And nobody ever said anything about it. No, they never said anything about it. But that was especially for the black people. But that was one of the worst places that they could work. Plus, gave us a house. They gave us a house and everything. Okay, that's good. But what good was a house if you could not actually say, well, I'd like to have something done in my house. I would like to have something done. You had to go through all of that. And they would take their time. We had a, 6-story house for all of us. I had 2 sisters. I had 6 brothers. And we all lived at the same house at the same time. And they said, oh, well, you doing good. You got a big house. You doing this and that. No, it wasn't. Because they were not doing what they should have been doing and helping us. And nobody wanted to do that. But that was Bethlehem Steel. That was where our fathers worked. Some of our mothers worked. And that's where we lived. Right on the corners. And it was not the way that they made it look like what a wonderful place to live. It was not. For us, we could do certain things, but we couldn't do everything. No, we couldn't do everything. They wouldn't allow us to do certain things. People could walk through our community and outside, and we couldn't walk through their side. And I said, this is not right. But what are you going to do? It was not a good deal. It was not a good deal. I was the first black student that went to Sparrows Point High School. But see, everybody didn't know that. No, the bus driver, Mr. Wynn, would come around and pick me up by my house. He said, don't go back on the bus. And he told me, sit behind me. And I said, okay, that's where I would sit. And then he would pick up the white students. And I said, okay. And I looked at my ring the other day and I said, you know what, you're getting shorter and shorter. But I stayed there and I worked. I learned how to play basketball. I learned how to play tennis. Played just about every game that I could play. But because I wanted to play it also. And see, they got to the point where, well, she's not going to do anything that we want her to do. They wanted me to come back on them. No, I'm not coming back on you. And that's not what I did, because I was the only black person there. I did not do anything that would make them want to do anything. And I didn't say anything to them. I got out of the cafeteria and I walked out, and they would be walking behind me or running behind me and, you know, and calling me names and all that. And I said, no, I said, I'm not going through this. I went on to the next class, or that's what I did. They wanted me to react and act like I didn't have good sense. And I said, my mother told me, you do not act that way. You go out and you do what you have to do. And that's what you do. Oh yeah. And eventually they started realizing that they could not make me do anything that I didn't want to do. And they realized it, and then they started backing off. And I said, oh, I did a pretty good job. And I graduated head of the class because I had studied and I did everything that I could do to keep up with being the head of the class. And that's what took me through.